Do you guys remember when I was struggling with my deadlift probably good 7, 8 months ago? It was towards the end of last year when I was struggling with my shoulders unlocking the start of the deadlift, the start of the pull. I always kind of had this description, this feeling that I would start the pull and my shoulders would kind of let go and I would roll over and up and over kind of thing, and I would completely lose my thoracic shoulder girdle thoracic extension, and then I would kind of end up like I described it like a fishing rod, kind of effect where, my upper back wasn't strong enough for my hips can do, and then I kind of like compromise my thoracic spine, and that would place more pressure on the lumbar spine, and then eventually once the lumbar spine starts to threaten or round, I would give up on the lift. And 260 was kind of out of my reach for a little while there towards the last year, and this is on a background of hitting a PR in February of last year. So lots of frustration there, and I kind of hypothesized that it was something to do with my lats or traps. I was kind of thinking more traps, I reckon, at the time. Wasn't strong enough to kind of latch down those lats and prevent the shoulders, from letting go. Well, the reason I'm telling you this is because I've got a similar type of feeling now that I've been, I don't know how long now, 3 weeks of probably like, most variable training I've ever done. Very large selection of exercises. I've started feeling really good in the squat. I'm feeling way stronger, and I'm kind of in a good spot. And along with all these safety bar squats of differing heights and width and all these variations that I'm doing, also alongside of all of that, I've been doing upper body stuff. I've been doing dips, overhead press, incline, wide grip bench, normal grip bench. I've been doing all of that, and today I was kind of almost half expecting to hit a PR of some sort. I was expecting performance to go really well, but it didn't. And the feeling that I got was exactly what I described when I was struggling with the deadlift. Simply, my shoulders are just raising, and they're like, I feel like they're next to my ears. I don't have any stability. I don't have any control of my shoulder girdle. Every time things get heavy, my shoulders just rise. It's almost like the traps take over and my shoulders rise and I lose all stability because the lats are completely let go. Today, when I was benching, I felt this very thing. Like I felt with 120, I felt like my shoulders were sliding up the bench. And it got to a situation where the 130 felt like I was sliding up the bench. My shoulders were kind of up my ears, and the bar was like at my throat. That's kind of how it felt. I'm kind of dramatizing it a little bit, but that's the sensation that I was feeling. Probably my shoulders were not next to my ears. And so this is now a few sessions in a row that I feel like my flat bench is doing this to me, where my shoulders are continuously rising. And the very first idea that I have is, okay, so these are two exercises in the space of, let's say, a year, less than that, but that I've had this feeling where I feel like my lats are not strong enough. Now, for this entire year, I've gone away from lat training or gone away for the most part of pulling. I've spent a lot of time doing push-ups, a lot of time doing dips, a lot of time now doing all sorts of pushing exercises. There was a period after the 31-day streak of hitting 200, there was a period where I was doing rows. But those rows were done with kind of like the pronated grip, so the overhand grip. And I was feeling my traps more so than my lats doing that. Now I'm kind of thinking, all of this time has passed, and I feel like I need to go back to lat training. So I need to continue doing what I'm doing with the pushing, continue doing the decline, incline, overhead press, all that. But I need to start doing some proper lat training. And I'm planning to kind of vary that. Now, when it comes to lat training, like directly lat training, I feel like pull-ups, chin-ups are the way to go, because the sensation that I have is that my shoulders are rising. This is exactly what pull-ups and chin-ups train. They train shoulder depression. Like you're pulling yourself up to a bar, which means everything underneath your armpits needs to work to for that to happen. So Yes, rows are good. Yes, I did inverted rows yesterday as well. But now I'm thinking I need to add some lat stability, because I remember when I was feeling the best in my, pull off the floor is when my lats were kind of like, mind muscle connected to my mind, kind of thing. I felt like one. So I think now I'm going to incorporate some pull-ups. Now, I say that with a fair degree of excitement because I love pull-ups. I love pull-ups. I went away from them because I was doing other thought processes. I was more kind of focused on traps. And at the start of the year, it was all volume. I just wanted to get good at pushing. Now I'm kind of thinking to myself that, it's been some 3 weeks of me rotating all of these pushing exercises, and I don't feel like I've gotten better. I feel like there is a glaring weakness here, a rate limiting step, which is withholding all of this progress. And I feel like if I don't address it now, or address it, I'm not going to progress. And so I think there is a commonality between how my deadlift feels off the floor and how my bench press feels. I don't know if you guys have ever connected these two things, but upper back, my lats, I feel like are a weakness. If I roll in my current thoughts about the lower body, what have I said? I'm now kind of thinking to myself, I've got a lower back glute weakness or hip extension weakness, because every time I start to do good mornings or RDLs or anything in that kind of plane of motion, I start to feel good. I start to feel really good in the front squat, and my front squat feels good, my back squat everything feels good. So I need to do more pulling. And certainly even the hip pain responded well to more pulling. Back in the day when I had all these spot fires to put out throughout the long period of time that I was squatting every day. Going back to some sort of pulling variation felt good. It just felt good. So maybe that was an indicator that all along, it was the posterior chain that needed work. This year I've spent a lot of time doing squatty movements, lots and lots of focus on that. And I don't know, I think volume in itself, regardless if it's a squatty or a hingy movement, helps me. But pulling, whatever, high volume or low volume, always feels good. So if I put these two things together, what my diagnosis is at the top and what my diagnosis is at the bottom, essentially I've got back weakness, like all of my back. So I'm talking about my lats, traps, lower back, glutes. All of that I feel like needs to get addressed. It's hard for me to kind of process this mentally, because what I feel and what I think about is one, like it makes sense to me, but then I watch myself lift and I'm so bent over and I'm like, well, if all of that stuff was weak, why the hell am I feeling so comfortable in those positions? I don't know. But definitely this shoulder packing issue that I have, I need to address that. I basically need stronger lats. I want to have the ability to kind of clench down my freaking lats on the bench press. And when I go into the bench, when I lower that bar to my chest, I do not want my shoulders to immediately start flaring and my shoulders rising. If my shoulders start to flare that early, man, like, what chance do I have to lift the damn thing? Like, your back needs to be tight. You need to lift off a strong base. And right now, I feel like my base is letting me down. Maybe the case is my pushing muscles at the top and at the bottom are pretty good, but the base is not strong enough. So what am I going to do? Continue working on the pushing exercises, continue working on the pushing movements, and forget about the base. The back, I feel like is letting me down. And I feel like sticking my head through a brick wall right now, because I am oscillating between these two thoughts all the time. But I think in a short space of time, I start to feel good. When I introduce hingy movements, which is weird. It's really weird. But my front squat the other day, the PR, what can I say about that? It felt good. It felt good after 1 day of doing good mornings. 1 freaking day. I've done good mornings again for the second session after like a 5-day break, 4-day break, and I feel good. I feel strong. I'm very much depleted in the days after the hingy or the good mornings, but I feel the phone cut out again. But what I was trying to say is I feel like I'm heading in the right direction when I do these hingy movements, RDLs, good mornings, block, rack pulls, like any of that stuff is the right thing for me. If you think about it, when you're going into an ATG squat, whether it be front squat or back squat, right at the bottom of the squat, right at the ATG position, you are really flexed your hip. And so that deep hip flexion position requires a lot of, resistance to caving of the lower back and the thoracic spine. So it kind of makes sense why good mornings have that profound effect on me. But I'm going to try and do this for the next little while. Focus on the pull-ups, variations, focus on the good mornings. I'll probably mix it up a little bit with that as well, but I'll continue to push, maybe get 130 for 10 next session. I'll continue to push that with all my might. Continue to do the wide stance squats as well, because that's another glaring weakness. This conjugate mindset is literally just like do a whole bunch of movements, see what really sucks, where you're depleted, make patterns, formulate ideas, formulate an attack plan against these resistances, and then just against these weaknesses, and then just attack. Make sure you don't have a weakness, iron those things out, and then hopefully the whole system is going to function a little bit better. I don't know, I don't know. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to kind of work out in your mind. But this sensation kind of lit my brain up today, because automatically I thought about the whole deadlifting feeling. I literally felt like I was deadlifting and my shoulders were unpacking. The lats were letting go. What the hell are the lats letting go? It's like I want to push on the bench press, but the elbows kind of flare out too early, and then the lats let go, and then all of a sudden I'm at my freaking throat with the bar. And that's not a stable, strong position. Like you're on an island if you've gone to that stage. You got to have the bar roll down towards the chest and the lats lock in, and then you have like this, like almost like a rebound effect from the chest. But if you lower the bar to your chest and the lats let go, elbows flare, then you're in trouble. Don't know. I could be wrong about my assessment, but I feel like the lats are the ones that are letting me go here. Because even though 130 moved okay, 120 moved okay, I felt like I was loose, very, very loose with it. And that's not a nice feeling. Same with the deadlift. I'm pushing the damn thing, I'm pushing my feet into the floor. I'm pushing, and all of a sudden the shoulders are freaking fully rounded over and unpacked. That's a horrible feeling to be. Like, get the hell back into position, man. What's going on? So I'm going to go back to my old school days of just like, doing a stack of freaking pull-ups. And I feel like those are not just good because, they hit the lats in the back or whatever, but they're also like, I feel like I can tolerate them quite well. Much, much, much better than rows. And so, you plug in rows with good mornings as your main kind of focus. And I reckon that's a pretty strong body if you can do a whole bunch of pull-ups in a whole good amount of weight with good mornings. Now you're building a freaking silverback type of physique, really, or type of ability. So I'm kind of very, very positive at that combination. So in my mind, it's wide stance squats, pull-ups, and good mornings. And I reckon we might have something in here. I'll continue to obviously rotate and do the whole conjugate thing with the pushing exercises. I'll continue to do that. Because if you think about it, like the whole pull-up thing doesn't take a long time, man. Like, I did 5 sets of 10. No, I did 4 sets of 10. And then the 5th set was a set of 5. I really fatigued towards the end. It doesn't take a lot of time as well. And, I don't know. Like, I tolerate that a lot better to rows. So that's what I'm going to do. That's the plan. I'm going to try and get after it. Now, the frequency of some of these things are going to be highly dependent on how my body recovers. I don't like rigidity. I don't like, oh, I want to do pull-ups every other day. I don't like to do that. I'll do them when I'm ready. And then I'll just kind of plan around those exercises. So on the days that I feel like I can good morning, I will good morning. And when I feel I can pull up, I will pull up. And everything else has to fall in line after that. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's what I'm thinking. That's the connection that I made. I don't know whether you guys have a similar type of experience with, shoulder mobility, or not shoulder mobility, shoulder strength, or packing of the shoulders. That's a better way to describe it. Packing of the shoulders in the bench press and the deadlift, whether you feel like it's a similar type of expression. I've kind of made this connection today. I haven't thought about it before, but when I think about it now, some of my best bench pressing when I was doing 130 for a set of, what was I doing back then? A set of 5, I reckon I hit. That was my best. 130 for a set of 5. Back then, I was doing that along with regular 260s on the deadlift. So maybe there's a relationship there. Maybe the very thing that makes my bench press good is the very thing that makes my deadlift good. So that's interesting, isn't it? Anyway, guys, let you go. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.